Hey there, welcome to the very first episode of Loan Doctor Podcast, where we believe that doctors deserve better deals, better mortgage deals. If you're a physician looking to buy, refinance, or better understand just the process and your options in the marketplace, you're in the right place. My name is Sean Shallis, aka the Loan Doctor. I'm a top producing loan officer at the fifth largest bank in the United States, and where we've been in the industry for 30 years. I've helped professionals, thousands of professionals like yourself, negotiate over $1 billion in real estate deals. What makes a physician loan different than most other loans? So, first thing is doctors spend a tremendous amount of time going in for an education. They invested a tremendous amount of money. A lot of times they come out of school with a lot of debt. But we also realize as bankers and financial institutions that eventually your income is going to catch up with you and your industry. One of the things that makes it very different is, we want to make sure that you're not overpaying for a loan because somebody's looking at your debt to income ratio and saying, oh my God, this is a risk. It's really not a risk when you look at the long term picture. And what we want to try to do is avoid having the wrong product and the wrong price and overpaying for something you really don't need to overpay for. There is products out there specifically for doctors. And that's why we say that, we believe that doctors deserve better deals, especially better mortgage deals. So, one of the first things is most doctors don't go to a traditional lender and they get treated like a regular borrower. We're not going to treat you as a regular borrower. I've been in the industry for 30 years. I've helped hundreds of doctors like yourself and high net worth individuals over the years actually buy, sell, or invest in a home as a realtor for 25 years. And then on the mortgage side, we've helped them structure and restructure deals that are very specific to physicians. The other thing is, when you get a physician loan, you can put 10% down and get no PMI. I'm going to say that again. It's one of the benefits of the physician loan is that you can actually get a loan for up to $1 million with no PMI insurance. So that's actually a really big deal because that's going to save you a tremendous amount of money. The other thing is your student loan debt is actually misunderstood in most cases. With us, when we specialize in doing physician loans, we're going to look at that in a very different light because we understand the long-term picture. Again, we're looking at you as a high, not a high credit risk, but a highly valuable borrower. But here's the truth that the loans are designed for physicians with lower rates, special underwriting terms, and just simply better terms. So with no PMI insurance, you're going to save thousands of dollars. Also, you can actually do as little as zero down payment and no low down payment in some cases. I don't always recommend those loans because in many cases those loans that are coming with no down payment or some down payment are not as traditional and they're usually come with a higher cost. The other thing is we can get you approved for a higher amount of money so that you're going to buy your first home once. You're not going to have to upgrade, or even if you want to, you can, but you don't have to right from the beginning. You don't have to settle in the beginning. You can actually, in many cases, we can help you stretch to get the home you want and the time you want. Won't that be great, actually? So, finally, in the flexibility underwriting of student loans on underwriting your overall loan is a big deal too. You need people that understand physician loans. At the bank that I work at, we're the fifth largest bank in the United States. We do loans all over the country. And quite honestly, our underwriting department understands the physician loan. We're one of the few banks that does a tremendous amount of them. I specialize in them. So our underwriting team is actually used to seeing them and we're used to seeing unique situations. Who is the Doctor Alone for? And why did we start the podcast? First of all, my name is Sean Shallis. I'm top producing loan officer at the fifth largest bank. I like to joke. I'm also a recovering realtor. So for 25 years, I've helped people like yourself actually buy, sell, and invest in over $1 billion in real estate. And during that time, I actually did probably about 30% of the people I worked with were either physicians or high net worth individuals in the medical space. I also did a tremendous amount of mergers and acquisitions for medical facilities and medical practices. And over that period of time, I got to learn that the language they're speaking to a physicians and also understand the difference between what a medical practice is looking for a physician and helping them actually retain great or acquire great talent like great physicians, but also how to keep them employed with them. So we actually offer for medical practices. I actually do a tremendous amount of help with the actual recruiting department and also their HR department and creating programs to help young physicians like yourself either be attracted to a practice and or stay at a practice. And we do what they call retention for a lot of those practices. I've seen physicians overpay for mortgages. I've seen them get denied for mortgages. And quite honestly, that's just a function of people not being educated on the situation. That's why I started this podcast, is really to help you understand your options, get the best financial advice. And also you're going to see we're actually going to bring in experts that are going to help you from the very beginning of the process to the very end of the process. And whether you're just in medical school, you're a fellowship program, you're in your residency, or you're already a physician for the last 5, 10 years, we're going to actually show you some unique advantages of being a physician and why I believe that physicians deserve better deals and they deserve white glove service. You earned it. And I'm here to tell you that, you know what? For somebody to not respect that, I mean, you're some of the hardest working people in our country. During COVID, you were out there on the front lines. I believe that, you know what, you deserve a special programs. That's exactly why each week we're going to actually show you how to get pre-approved with no PMI, low interest rates. We're also going to show you how to buy a home in a certain area or a certain place where you want to go to and what to look for. And we're going to introduce you to the experts that are going to help you to find the best deals in those neighborhoods so that you don't get caught up in those bidding wars. We're going to then look at the best strategy. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 different options on which loan program to use when you go to buy that home. What's interesting is, I'll be honest with you, we don't always recommend a physician loan. In some cases, you may not need the benefits of a physician loan, and we may be able to give you a better program or a better opportunity with a different program that's going to suit your situation better. And here's the deal. In addition to getting 30 years of experience and knowledge, and my knowledge and experience from my team's experience, we're also going to bring to the table is an amazing suite of products and services that are only available through, our bank because we're nationwide. We're one of the largest lenders. I like to consider myself like Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life. You remember that movie, right? At Christmas time, they always show it. And what Jimmy Stewart is, he's the bank manager at the savings and loans, right? And what he does is he takes the money and takes it from the guy who owns the cab driver, and he gives it to the guy who owns the restaurant to actually build his house. US Bank, we're actually doing the same thing. We're actually using our depositors' money to help you to go buy your next home. And if we can't afford to give you our depositors' money, afford to go directly to the Fed and borrow the money directly. And when we're able to do that, there's nobody between us and the money. And that's why I like to say I'm like Jimmy Stewart. We're giving you the money right from our depositors or from the Fed window. We don't have to pay somebody else to borrow that money to give it to you, which gives you the best deals in the country right now. You're also going to be listening to and upfront and close with interviews with my cadre of experts, the people that I've used over the past 30 years to help actually physicians get plugged into an area or town or community. These guys have been handpicked. They've been vetted by me over the years. They've done it and they've helped out other physicians and other professionals like yourself very discreetly get moved into areas, and they're working on your schedule. They understand that you have a very demanding schedule, so they're going to make their mission to actually work on your timeline. The Lawn Doctor Network, what we actually promise is we're going to actually help you have the very best experience with the lowest rates, the least amount of fees, and the lowest amount of stress. I mean, let's face it, getting a mortgage is up right up there with public speaking, having a child, getting married, getting divorced, and right behind that is how getting a mortgage on a house. So what we're going to try to do is reduce the stress as much as possible so that you can actually focus on what's important, is getting you and your family into that perfect home where you want to become part of the American dream. We're going to help you to do that. We pride ourselves on our commitment to getting and closing deals on time every time in my office. And the only way we can do that is with the cadre of experts that we have that are committed to that same promise to you. So in the future, in the episodes, you're going to actually learn exactly how we actually fulfill that promise. And that's, let me tell you, that's a bold promise. But here's the great news: we can actually fulfill on it. How do I know we can fulfill on it? We've done it hundreds of times over the years. And now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to actually bring you up close and personal. I'm going to be interviewing the industry's best of the best. I mean, when I tell you the best of the best, I'm going to bring you people that were like the CEO of Keller Williams in one time or another, who's now in charge of a referral service that actually gets us partnered with the best realtors in the country. We're also going to introduce you to the top recruiters in the medical space, so that if you're still a fellow and you're in your residency or your medical school and you're looking after the match and you want to find a new position, we're going to try to position you with the right recruiters that are going to get you the best jobs with the best opportunities and the best benefits as a physician. You deserve the best. So we're going to help you to do that. Once you find and once you get an offer letter, now what we're going to do is we're going to find you the right partner. We're going to get you a realtor partner. If they don't have one, we're going to give you one that actually specializes in that particular area to help you and your family to find the perfect home and find out which communities you want to be in, which communities are easier to commute to. Let's say you work as an emergency room expert. You're going to want to get to the hospital. If you're a surgeon, you may need to get to the hospital in less than 40 minutes. We're going to actually introduce you to the real estate experts that are going to be able to introduce you to the communities that are going to best suit where you need to live or work in order to provide that service to the people you promised you would. Also, we're going to show you where, if you're going to have a family, obviously, in the event that you don't want to have one, great. If you do want to have one, great. But what we're going to do is find places, also have great schools and low taxes. Even if you're not going to have children, one of the things is the value of the home is going to be the intrinsic value of the home is going to be based on The school systems and the taxes in the areas has a lot to do with that. And you may not be focused on that now, but when it comes time to sell that house, it's going to have an impact on the value. So it is important whether you're having a family or not to actually have that as one of the layers. The next thing you're going to do is once you find that house and once you get a letter from me and we're going to tell them that, hey, we can get you to a smooth and flawless closing in 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to make sure you're success ready. And what does that mean? We're going to make sure that you're not just financially ready to buy a house. We want to make sure you're financially, physically, and emotionally ready to buy the house. I'm going to say that again. We want to make sure that you're physically, emotionally, and financially ready to buy the house. Just because you qualify to buy a house for a million, 1.5 million, doesn't mean that you want to spend 1.5 million, doesn't mean you're even comfortable spending that. We want to make sure that whatever you're qualified for is in line with your emotional and physical barometer, if you will, of investing in a home and your tolerance for risk, if you will. And that's going to go back to where I said we're going to offer you 3 or 4 different options on your mortgage depending on your tolerance for risk and your barometer for what you want to be invested in or how your long-term picture is or how you get paid. We have a lot of physicians that can actually get paid as a partner, and every quarter they get paid a partner payout. So we actually will do is one of the our the bank that I work with, we actually offer what's called recasting. So every quarter I have a lot of physicians that will write checks to the bank and they'll send that to the bank on the front and they'll pay off on the front end of the mortgage. They're going to put that toward the principal on the loan as opposed to the back end of the loan. You've heard this before is if I put a little bit extra in my payment, it'll pay my loan down faster. Well, not only can you do that with our partners program and our recasting, what you're doing is you're actually making a payment on the front end, and then you're going to call the bank, and we're going to actually have them recalculate your payment based on the new principal amount that you owe, which is a fantastic program for young physicians like yourself that actually start to generate a tremendous amount of money and short, on a quarterly or a monthly or annual basis. Paying down that mortgage is going to save you thousands of dollars and interest along the way. The other thing that we're going to do is once we get your offer accepted, now what you're going to have to do is get an attorney or get somebody in a title company and an escrow company. You want to make sure that those guys are vetted and they understand your particular timeline, they understand your value proposition, and also they understand how you're going to be closing on that home. So we're going to put you in touch with vetted attorneys, escrow companies, title companies across the country that actually we know that we've already vetted and we know that they're our partners and they specialize in doing that so they can help you solidify the deal and cover you legally. One of the things I talk about with a lot of surgeons specifically is, you can buy a home in what's called a revocable trust. And as a surgeon, one of the things you have to be concerned with in this day and age is getting sued. So what I usually recommend is a lot of times I'll ask my young surgeons, "Hey, are you going to be holding the house in a revocable trust, or are you going to be holding the house in your personal name? Are you going to put your wife on the title and the deed, or are you just going to do it on your own?" So those are questions that are very specific for physicians. Why we're asking those is because we want to make sure that we protect you in the long term. It's not just about buying a home; it's also making a strong and powerful investment that you're going to be confident and comfortable in along the way. The other thing is once we get you all set up for success and now we have your property in the deal, you're going to need movers, you're going to need painters, you may need a landscaper, you may need an interior designer or an exterior designer, you may need a contractor, you may even need a cleaning company or somebody to help you to manage that property. And what we're going to do is introduce you to, and we're going to have experts on the podcast. We're going to talk about the things to look for when you're purchasing the home on the front end and then the things that can help you with on the back end later on, or things you should worry about now, and things that can be handled later on. And we're going to bring the experts in to actually help you to make those decisions so that you don't have to think about it. You're just going to listen to a podcast episode. And if you're concerned about the landscaping, you're going to listen to the interview that we did with the landscape expert. And he's going to actually help you to make that decision. So you don't have to think about it. You can just listen to it the car ride home. The other thing that we actually are going to do is we're going to actually interview experts to help you to figure out like childcare and figure out what to look for in childcare facilities within that community. And we're going to get you. Obviously, you're going to get recommendations, local recommendations from the realtors and some of the other people in that community, and also from your recruiter and the people at practice and/or at the hospital that you're going to be working at. But more importantly, there's certain things that you're going to be looking for, and what we're going to do is bring in those experts that can help you to actually select like the perfect daycare facility and/or school if you're going to send your kids to private school or you want to send your kids to a public school, what to look for. And I'll give you a little tip. One of the things I did years ago as a realtor, this was probably 20 years ago. I was on CNBC and daytime news because what I did was I created a spreadsheet, and when I worked in a town called Hoboken, which is all the way by the Hudson River and right across the river from New York City, and most of the people there were young professionals that worked there. And eventually, what they would do is they would have kids, and they'd want to move out to the suburbs once they started to get a little more comfortable with their position in life, in their job. And they would always ask me to say, how do I figure out where I can find the best schools, and how do I find out where the lowest taxes are? So what I actually did was I actually created a spreadsheet that had on one side was the amount of taxes for each town and each county, and each one of the towns in the county. And we would do the spreadsheet by the county, and we would say, in these towns, here is the average taxes. And then what we would do is put on that same spreadsheet the average SAT scores of the school. And you could actually very quickly and very easily look at where can I get the balance between the highest SAT scores and the lowest taxes and the average price of the homes in that area. So those are the things that we're going to talk about on the podcast that, your local realtor or even your local experts may not actually talk to you about. But after doing it for 25 years, helping 2,000 people buy, sell, or invest in a home, there's some tips, tricks, and strategies that I'm going to be able to show you or help you with very quickly and very easily that are going to help you to shortcut the process and make your move the easier part of making the transition to your new position. At the Loan Doctor podcast, we're not just slinging loans and rates to doctors. Our commitment and our mission is to become the number one resource for physicians and other people in the medical space, right down to the person who's answering the phone at your front desk. We want to be able to help you and your practice and your organization and you as an individual actually get the best deal possible and help you to attract the best physicians and best medical practitioners that are out there and help retain them into your organization. If you're a physician looking to buy or refinance, let's connect. Just grab the link below. You can actually go and visit I think over here or over there, or loandoctor.com. You can go there and learn a little bit more about us. And you can even schedule a call to get pre approved and have a conversation with us. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, subscribe on here. If you're on the podcast, leave us a testimonial. Tell us how we impact you. Give us some questions, what else we can do for you. But over time, just give us a little bit of patience. We're going to make sure that we bring you the best of the best to help you to actually make the move. We believe that physicians deserve better deals. We're going to prove that to you, and we're going to live on our commitment to and our promise to make it the best physician website you can find. Again, my name is Sean Shallis. I'm a loan doctor, top producing loan officer at the fifth largest bank in the United States. I have 30 years of experience. I'm going to bring you professionals from all over the world that actually will help you to make a decision that's usually a very complicated decision very easily. We'll see you on the other side. Again, I believe that you deserve a better deal. Just listen in, and we'll see you on the other side. Sean Childs, talk to you soon.